So ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, the Madonna of the geriatric set. Let's give it up for Miss Phyllis Diller!
Thank you very much. Enough. Now, don't let that word Madonna bother you. The day I grab my crotch, it'll mean it's falling off. And at my age, it could. You know you're old when your walker has an airbag. And your sexual fantasies involve Dick Van Dyke. And your birth certificate's on a scroll and they've discontinued your blood type. Halley's Comet goes over and you say, there it goes again. And you can remember when fast food meant you ran over a chicken. Your favorite drink is Metamucil. And you can remember a heavyweight fight between two white guys. But for me, the most embarrassing part about being old is the grandchildren. They take me to the beach and try and make words out of the veins in my legs. Little bastards. That's why I still take the pill. I don't want any more grandchildren. You know, the best contraceptives for old people is nudity. Condoms for old guys should be called software. Before I get off the subject of being old, I have a tip for you. If you go to an old folks' home, don't set your drink down, because every time I did, somebody dropped their teeth in it. And Mel Brooks was at old folks' home, and he wasn't getting the attention he thought he deserved. So he went up to a little old lady, and he said, "Do you know who I am?" And she said, "No, but the lady at the desk will tell you." Be kind to your children because they will be choosing your rest home. I already have mine picked out for Fang's mother, the Charles Manson Healthcare Center. That old bitch. She went to the doctor with a pain under her left breast. Turned out to be a trick knee. You may have figured out that this is a wig. The hair on the top of my head is so thin, the part is on the roof of my mouth. Let's face it, I've outlived my hair. Hell, I've outlived my whole body. Well, except for the parts I've had replaced. You know, I've had a lot of operations. There are no two parts of my body the same age. When I die, God won't know me. If I have one more facelift, it'll be cesarean. My face has been pulled up more times than Bill Clinton's pants. You know, that Monica Lewinsky lives in my neighborhood. Jesus. She went to the cleaners to drop off a dress, and the old man working was so deaf. She said, "I'd like this dress cleaned, please." And he said, "Come again?" She said, "No, it's orange juice." But I do live in a pretty high crime neighborhood. I live on Rockingham and Brentwood. And you know, if a famous football player was gonna kill his wife, why couldn't it have been Frank Gifford? But it's not a bad neighborhood. We have some neighbors that are newlyweds. They recently went on a cruise, and the groom went to the drugstore, and he said, "I'd like some Dramamine and birth control." And the old druggist pulled him aside and said, "Son, if it makes you sick, why do you do it?" And another guy went in the drugstore and he asked to speak to a male pharmacist. And the lady said, "My sister and I have owned the store for 30 years. Don't be embarrassed, just tell us your problem." Guy says, "It's kind of embarrassing. I have this continual state of sexual arousal." She says, "Never mind, let me talk to my sister." They had a conference and she came back and she said, "Best we can do is 1,000 a week and half the store." Another lady who was a dear friend of mine in the neighborhood just lost her husband in a sea accident. He owned barges and tugboats, and he was killed. The other neighbor said, well, how did he leave you? Meaning money, which was none of her damn business. She said, millions. The neighbor said, well, isn't that amazing, considering he could never read nor write? And the wife said, nor swim. Another lady went to the gun shop, asked the gunsmith, I'd like a really nice gun for my husband. And he said, well, did he tell you what kind of gun he'd like? And she said, he doesn't even know I'm going to shoot him. Another lady took her newborn baby to the doctor for his first checkup and shots. The doctor took the baby, came back, and said, is this baby breastfed or bottle fed? She said, the baby's breastfed. He said, take off your blouse. And he did a thorough examination. And then he said, well, no wonder this baby is suffering from malnutrition. You have no milk. She said, I'm the aunt. Another lady went to the doctor, and she complained that one of her breasts was longer than the other. The doctor said, well, that's not that unusual. Do you know why? And she said, yes, I do. My husband likes to sleep with one of them in his mouth. He said, well, that's not that unusual. She said, we have twin beds. I tell you, the dumbest lady I ever met was when I was in the hospital. She was in the bed next to me. She had twins. The doctor rolled in both babies. She thought she had a choice. I wish I had a choice. In my day, we didn't even have the pill. It was trick or treat. We had far too many kids. At one time in the playpen, it was standing room only. It looked like a bus stop for midgets. It was so damp in there. There was a rainbow over it. I named them all Kid. They have different first names. You know, Hey Kid, You Kid, Dumb Kid. They are dumb. Fang's even dumber, though. He thinks he's their father. Oh, those kids. This man, you want to know why did I marry such a dummy? It was before I was made over, and I was ugly. I don't know how to tell you. I had no chance. I wore a choke chain until I was 12. My own Ouija board told me to go to hell. A peeping Tom threw up on my windowsill. I was the world's ugliest baby. When I was born, the doctor slapped everybody. My father said, is it a boy or a girl? He said, no. He said it was the first full-term miscarriage he'd ever witnessed. I was 30 years old. My mother was still trying to get an abortion. You know, when you play spin the bottle, if they don't want to kiss you, they have to give you a quarter. Well, hell, by the time I was 12 years old, I owned my own home. The only time a boy ever asked me to get in the back seat is to fix the speaker. And oh, Fang, he's so stupid. I may be ugly, but he's an idiot. He thinks oral sex means talking about it. He thinks bisexual means you had sex twice. When we were kids, we played doctor. He was an optometrist. On our wedding night, he brought a book to bed. I wouldn't mind if he read. He colored. So I put on a peekaboo blouse. He peeked and booed. This is the same man who was reading the obituaries and said, isn't it just amazing how all the people die in alphabetical order? I told him to improve our sex life, I was going to bring home an aphrodisiac, and he said, no black women. Oh, this man, I don't know what I'm going to do with him. You don't know cheap until you've met Fang. My wedding ring turned my whole body green. And you wouldn't believe the engagement ring. He told me it was a square-cut emerald. It was a chiclet. He put an IOU in the wishing well. I tossed in a dime. He jumped in after it, broke his neck. That was my wish. But one time he took us out for donuts and coffee, and well, the children loved it because they had never given blood before. You should see him in the mornings with the shakes and the hangover. He can thread a sewing machine while it's running. And then the idiot tries to shave with a straight razor. One morning he lost so much blood, his eyes cleared up. I said, you know, you've got to stop drinking. I don't know what I'm going to do. I threatened him. I told him, if you don't stop drinking, I'm going to cut you off from all sex altogether. He said, you don't even know where I'm getting it. You have been a delight. I hope you are getting everything you want out of life. Good night. I love you.